Davey McPhail rarely leads tires astray with his patterns. This simple foam hopper fly hits the target again for its simplicity at the vise and fish-catching prowess. I'm using a size 10, 2x long, dry fly hook. But the beauty of this hopper pattern is that it can be easily tied in a variety of sizes, using either standard dry fly hooks or terrestrial style hook shanks. I always pinch the bar before starting a base of Danville's 140 and wrapping it to the bend of the hook. A variety of color schemes work well for this fly too, so you can either trim a piece of solid sheet foam or use a pre-cut sheet that Larva Lace offers. Either way, the body material should be a little less than the width of the hook gape. Trim off the corners of the butt end of the foam and use a lighter to slightly singe the material just to round it off. Set the foam piece on top of the hook and offer solid wraps to secure it to the top of the hook shank. A small dab of superglue is fine to add throughout the process if desired, but this fly catches fish just as well without it. For the underwing, I'm using Polar White Shimmer. Trim a small piece from the hank and bring it to the backside tie-in point. Make a few wraps at the shimmer's midpoint before folding all the material back and capturing it with a few turns of thread. Don't worry if it doesn't lay down completely right now. For the next step, we'll add a little dubbing to cover up any exposed thread wraps. For this tan hopper, I'm using brassy gold Firestar dubbing. I use the pheasant crest for yellow hoppers. With a small amount of dubbing, create a noodle that will cover your thread wraps in the back and also help your underwing lay down back against the body. Then, lift your foam up and pull it back to expose the hook shank. Make thread wraps moving forward up the hook until you get about a 1/4 inch back from the hook eye. Lay the foam back down on top of the hook and secure it with a few sturdy wraps. Then you can fold the tag end back over the top and onto itself to create the head of the hopper. Extend this head by pushing more foam forward before securing it to the hook. I prefer mine to extend just to the hook eye. A good sharp set of scissors will help trim that foam on the back side of the head. Trim off the tag end and cover any excess with thread wraps. For the wing, we're going to trim a healthy clump of deer hair from the hide and clean out the loose butt ends before dropping the good stuff into the stacker, tips first. After giving it a good solid stack, grab a hold of the aligned tips and clean out any renegade fibers before using those good sharp scissors again to create a straight cut where you want them to be tied in. Trim the wing to be just the same length as the body. Bring the hair to the tie-in point and grab it with a loose wrap of thread before pulling down to flare out those butt ends. Continue pinching the deer hair to the hook while you bring thread wraps through and over the rest of the tied-in deer hair ends. Make sure the wing remains on top of the hook while you secure it into place. Rubber legs are used for the final distinguishing hopper feature. Tie a knot into each end of one piece of the leg material by crafting an overhand knot and pulling it tight. The individual piece will have 2 knots and should look just like this. Fold the leg material in half and bring them over the top of the hopper body so that each side of the hopper has a section of leg. Add a few loose wraps to capture the rubber legs before manipulating them into their final position. Check the length and orientation of those rear-facing legs to make sure they're in the place you want them. Once satisfied, you can trim the front section to create the 2 front legs. A final dose of brassy Firestar will cover your work area. After wrapping your dubbing, bring your thread under the body and make a few wraps around the hook eye. There, you can add a few half hitches or a whip finish and trim your thread. Add a small drop of head cement to lock it all into place. Thanks to Davey McPhail, we can tie this simple foam hopper in a variety of sizes and colors. They all produce when fish are looking up. These are all the Larva Lace materials you need to tie up some of your own simple foam hoppers. Make sure you ask for Larva Lace at your local fly shop, and go to higginsfish.com to check out their great selection of products. Show off your variation of this simple foam hopper in the Fly Tying University Facebook group. It's a growing community for all tires. Larva Lace is a proud partner of the Fish Stories Archive at fishstories.org. Record an angler, keep them around forever. Thanks for tying with Larva Lace. Tight lines and best fishes.